All right, are you ready? So today I just wanted to come on here and tell everybody about the different opportunities you have as a young man, even woman, to get out in the world and work a new job without going to college. And I know this is a very controversial topic, but I've been blue collar my whole life. At 21, I was a operator for heavy equipment, and I was taking home $3,000 a week with no college degree. And so this is just a little video to show and tell everybody that you don't need to go to college to make a good living. As long as you're smart with your money and you're not just out blowing it don't really matter. You can get a better job in the blue collar field working your way up than you can, I don't know, probably 70% of what a college degree can get you. Not saying a college degree is bad, because there are some industries where the only way you're getting hired is by a college degree. However, at the same time, you teach somebody how to do that same job without a degree, they could probably do the job just as well, if not better. But that's not the point of this video. So, um, as I just stated, I was 21, doing heavy equipment as an operator, running a Tesmec 1150 and 1175 trencher and a excavator, and um, I was getting 25 bucks an hour plus $100 a day per diem and $30 a day for truck pay. I had a fuel card, so all my fuel was paid for, and my living expenses were paid for. Company paid for my hotel. And so with overtime plus my per diem and my truck pay, I was taking home just over $3,000 a week. Granted, I was working 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, and I was working 12s, and I was on the road. However, for a 21-year-old with no kids and not many responsibilities, that's pretty darn good money if you ask me. It's over 100,000 a year, something like that. Anyhow, for all the young guys in America that, or anywhere in the world, I guess, that want a good opportunity out of high school, do it while you're young. Start young, work your way up, because out the gate you're making good money. A couple of years later down the road, you'll make even better money. And so this is just a couple different opportunities that you can get into. Some will take longer to get into and a little bit harder to get into. However, they're all good paths at the end of the day. And whatever you do, it will probably change your life if you're smart with your money and you build good credit while you're out here working. So, a entry level floor hand on a oil rig, as a rustabout, doing 14 on, 14 off, is roughly going to be about 85,000 a year, give or take, depending what company you're with, what your per diem is, and what your hourly pay is. Most of your money is going to come from overtime and from per diem. So whenever you call and apply, they say, "Oh, we only pay $19 an hour." Well, Walmart pays 22 an hour. Well, guess what? You're not going to get 40, 50 hours of overtime every week at Walmart, and you're not going to get untaxable per diem pay that's going to hit your check. So your overtime and your per diem is where most of your big money is going to come from. Your first 40 hours, it's all right. But at the end of the day, over the course of a month, or I guess 2 weeks, and a combined of 160, 170, maybe 180 hours over 2 weeks, then you have 2 weeks off, 80,000 a year starting out, right? And who's to say that you're 2 weeks off, you don't go do something else and make even more money? Anyways, up next we have a pipeline welder helper, roughly starting out at $65,000, $70,000 a year as a helper. That's pretty darn good. All right. Then you have your one call locators, your 811 locators that come out and locate your gas lines, your water lines, and everything like that before you do any mechanical digging, and you have a company come out and hydrovac for your line to do a line search. Those guys, 65,000 a year, starting out roughly, give or take what company you work for. All right, and then you have what I do, damage prevention. I make about $92,000 a year starting out. Now, that's 5 days a week, weekends off. I typically work 30 days straight and then take 2 days off, 3 days off, sometimes a week, depending how long I've been out in the field. But I do 30 days straight. That's about 13,000 a month. Then I take 2 days off, 3 days off, whatever, and then I'll do it all over again. Sometimes I'll do 2 months straight, and then I'll take a week off and kind of relax, get back in the groove. Anyways, my type of schedule, I'll push 130 a year, maybe 140 a year. But starting out, regular schedule, 90-ish thousand a year. If you break it up even more, you can probably push, 110 and have more time off than me, which is good. All right. And then you have your actual rig welder, owner operator, the welder that owns his truck and his machine on the back of a truck. They're roughly 130 plus a year, depending on what kind of welding you're doing, the location you're on, the type of job you're on. 130,000 plus per year. All right, now you have your safety guys out in the field. Depending what company you start out with and what certifications you have as a safety man, $95,000 plus. All right. Now we have your guys that are in your cranes. Also, $95,000 plus. To be a crane operator, you do have to have certifications, same as your safety guys. However, if you're dedicated enough and you want the job enough, you'll do whatever it takes to get your certifications. All right, next up in the oil field. Also, this applies to every 18-wheeler driver in America, depending on the company you work for. It's always going to be a big factor who you work for, because some companies are going to take care of their employees better than others. But 18-wheeler drivers, $85,000 plus. All right. Then you have your heavy equipment operator, as I talked about in the beginning. It's what I started out as. Actually, I started out as a operator helper, so to speak. I stood there and just watched them, and that paid me like $1,800 to $2,200 a week as a helper. I helped grease the machine, fuel it up, clean the air filter, clean the cab. Just watched and I observed and learned what the operator was doing before it was my chance. Anyways, outside of any oil field stuff, you have your union plumbers and electricians. All right, and this also applies for non-union plumbers and electricians. Once you get certified, all right, and you have your masters, or even what is it? Anyways, your level below your masters, I forgot. But once you have your master's license for your plumbing and your electrical, you can do $80,000+ a year. All right, that's trade school. All right, or actually, I don't believe you have to go to trade school for that. You just have to work underneath a master who will clock your time as a apprentice. All right, and then you do your apprenticeship for X amount of years, or however much time you put in, and then your journeyman. All right, then you go to your journeyman. Once you are a journeyman plumber or electrician for X amount of time, then you'll go to your master. You'll take your test, pass your test, you get your master's. Boom, make even more money. All right. Also, this doesn't forget about pipe fitters. Pipe fitters also can make really good money. All right. And there's probably a bunch of other positions in here, but this is your basic starting out as a blue collar guy. Don't forget about all your linemen. Those guys make really good money. Your guys that climb the towers, your cell tower climbers, really good money. All right. Some of these guys are making well over $100,000 a year. No college degree needed. All right, guys. Don't get frustrated about trying to find a good paying job as a young man. All right, because you can get out there and do it. If you want it enough, you will find the job, you will find the opportunity, and you will make it work. All right. I've done blue collar my entire life. I started out in high school at doing what was it? Anyways, I forgot the position name. But anyways, I was building networks for police stations and banks and restaurants for their security system, their Wi-Fi, their door locks, their access codes, for their key cards, you name it. All right, so I did all that stuff in high school, and then I graduated high school and I went full time and network engineering, and started out at $20 an hour. Worked my way up to $35 an hour as an 18-year-old out of high school. All right. That was my first job out of high school, making $35 an hour as an 18-year-old. Okay. And then from there, building all of the networks and building the racks and basically servers, so to speak. I went to the field side and started to learn how to do fiber. And fiber is also a really good thing to learn. All right. That also paid me $35 an hour. And my field was being paid for by the company. And I worked in my hometown. I didn't have to be on the road for that one. That paid me really good money. All right. So there's a bunch of different things you can do. Elevator technicians. Elevator guys make a buttload of money too. Your escalators, the ones in the mall where you step on it and you ride up. Those guys make really good money as well. Okay. So don't get discouraged of, I can't make any money, blah, 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 blah. Get off your butt, dude. Don't be lazy. Go try. Go apply for 100 different types of jobs and 100 different positions starting out. I mean, you're gonna learn a trade and make 60, 70, $80,000 a year to learn versus going in debt in college to get a degree that's gonna pay you 45, 50, maybe 60,000 whenever you get out. Or you spend, $300,000 in college just to get paid 90. Like the first 3 years and some change out of school, you're gonna be in debt, and I mean, you're gonna be in debt for a lot longer. But anyways, you get the point. It doesn't make sense for some jobs if you're a guy. If you're good at sales, go do sales. Sales guys make a lot of money for roofs and insurance and whatever else. You can make a lot of money doing sales. If you're really good at sales, you can start your own business. All right. But don't get discouraged going out there and trying to find a good paying job. Okay. They're out there. They're everywhere, actually. Everywhere out there. They're all over West Texas. If you don't mind being away from home for a little bit at a time and doing honest, hard work, what I do isn't hard. I don't get dirty. I put my time in doing other things to get me where I am today. But you could have my same job within a year, maybe even less than a year. You know, um, so just get out there, give it your all, try, and the next video we will talk about what to do once you start making big money. 80,000 plus a year. What to do with your money, because lifestyle creep will catch up to you, and it kind of took a toll on me. Look at this $60,000 truck I'm in. It's expensive to own. Let me tell you that. But I don't have many bills, and I live a very modest and minimal lifestyle. So whenever you make $13,000 a month, the $1,000 truck bill isn't that much. But other than that, it also comes with good credit. Okay, you got to have good credit. So the next video is going to be about credit and saving your money and lifestyle creep and everything of that nature. So don't get discouraged trying to find a job out of high school, making big money. It's there. You can do it. You just got to apply yourself, and you got to get out there and apply and call these companies 2-3 times a week, every week, until they block your phone number or they hire you. That's how I got hired on with a bunch of jobs that I've gotten. Call, 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 call. Show them you want it, and eventually you'll get it 9 times out of 10. All right, so get out there, get busy, and go make that money.